What is going on, everybody? 'Tis I, the enigma of the gun airwaves, Miyanovich, welcoming you to Season 3 of the Liberal Gun Owners Lens podcast, where unprecedented perspectives are packed into the cargo hold for the LGO Lens spaceship Voyagio.
That's fucking Italian.
Don't believe that evolution is possible with guns and public safety in America? It's already happening, y'all. Minds are evolving. Think guns versus public safety is the only game in town, do ya? Think culture war is the big boss, do ya? Then keep your ass in the past. Everyone else, all aboard! I'll go on the record to say that in terms of for one brief second, we'll talk about the assassination of the United Healthcare CEO. I'll just talk about it for 1 second. Or the assassination attempt on Trump. That's basically a form of social coercion is what's happening there. People are attempting in one way to achieve some input into social coercion because they believe society should be going a certain way, and there's no power that's moving it in that direction, so something extreme is required. And this is typical of people who are not, again, young, for the most part, immature and unnuanced, in my opinion. And unfortunately, this happens in people that are 30 and 40 and 50 years old also. When you believe that the only thing you actually have power to do is vote every 2 and 4 years, and run your mouth on the internet and go to a couple protests, and then you don't see your worldview come to fruition, or you don't see the change happening, then you determine that the social coercion that's available to you is ineffective. And so what must be the effective social coercion has to be something radical. This is unfortunately a very typical determination for a lot of people on the left, maybe on the right, but the right isn't really geared towards like protesting and so on and so forth. But on the left, this is a very typical, in my opinion, this is a jabroni determination. And this is why you see a lot of punk aspirations on the left, right? This kind of like, well, the system is all fucked up and gummed up and you can't do anything. So we're going to put a brick through it. There is so much room between the status quo and assassinating someone in terms of social coercion that can happen. That's effective. You just can't, and you can't find it, or you're not going to have any access to it if all you do is think that you're going to vote and go to a protest, right? That's not social coercion. Social coercion is something much more potent. So there's a lot of room between nothing happening and killing somebody. That's effective. The issue is that it almost always takes brains, a lot of brains, and a decent amount of money, and the right people to organize with and do shit with that's north of protesting. That's north of what you see, right, typically. I'm bringing all of this up because I'm saying there's so much shit that can be done legally and powerfully to fucking change the world. There's a lot of it. But the problem is you have to have money. There's no way to do it unless you have big piles of money and the right brains around you. That's why it's hard to access. There's only so much money and only so many big brains. So, that being said, liberal gun owners is not in any way cool with social coercion. That is, we're just going to have to start fucking killing people and CEOs and shit. Right? Because while it might seem to those anarchist type people, or those wild people, radical people, that it's working, the economy of violence is always creating other issues and other things that are going to become expensive in the future. It's always creating that. It's always creating a worse world, whether you can see it or not. It's very rare when violence is used to create a better world. Very rare. It's a weird fucking economy. Using violence is a very weird economy. And most people who are cool with this shit, like most of the people on the left that are on the internet going, fuck yeah, or whatever, They have no understanding of the economy of violence for real. They have a punk understanding of it. Okay. Now, I've said all of that. Now that I've said all of that, I said after the Trump assassination attempt, this is not the last time we are going to be seeing this shit. Like, this is probably just the first indication of what's coming. And right now, I said it right after the assassination attempt. Right now, there are easily 25 people that are plotting, right? Maybe not just attempting on Trump, but this same pattern of I'm going to get out there with a rifle and I'm going to institute, or a gun, and I'm going to institute this change or this, transformation, this revolution. I still stand by that. As soon as he gets in office, and it's almost obviously entirely going to come from people on the left that this is going to happen. I still stand by that. I think that we're going to see, at the very minimum, more attempts in this regard. Have you guys thought about this? And what are your feelings about it? Adam, you can go first.
I think it's going to be, I think like what we've seen with the people doing the attempts in the past, I do think it's going to be from the left, but also from the right. I think the last shooter, I'm pretty sure he was the guy that nicked the ear. I'm pretty sure he was a writer person, or at least historically was registered as a Republican before.
Yeah, he's a weird, his shit was weird. I still don't.
Yeah, I don't have a read on him either. I do think, especially as people, if the economy goes the direction I think it's going to go, I think it's going to radicalize some of the people that are already thinking about it. And I definitely see people, trying to do more of those things too. And it's more of a lashing out than anything else, I think. Like, even with the UHC guy, it sounds like his back was pretty much shot up. I mean, just fucked up completely. And he was basically paralyzed, not paralyzed, but very handicapped from it. And the insurance and everything else was partially to blame, it sounds like. I haven't looked super deep into the guy yet, but I do think we're going to see more of these violent outbursts, especially if the economy takes a turn, especially if they can have somebody to blame on it. And I don't think it's just going to be Trump. I think it's, anybody they view as being out there and doing it. I mean, I never even heard about the UHC guy before. I'm not much into the healthcare side of stuff. No, I definitely think we're going to see more of it. And I think it's going to be a reactionary to, like, when people lose their insurance, people lose their incomes, people lose their homes, and have a response from that.
I'm going to say something real quick, Jimmy, before I turn it over to you, is that when I said it's mostly going to be coming from the left, I'm talking about the aspect of Trump and the Trump administration inspiring, right? So I think we're going to see other things too, but when I said it's mostly going to come from the left, I'm talking about the fact that Trump is coming into office, and there are already a lot of people out there that feel like they would do anything to not have him be in office or succeed in office. So, but I do think that other than that, we could also see tit for tat stuff, left, right, because if you see a left wing person doing it, then the right wing person is going to want to do something. But that is kind of all in play. So Jimmy, go ahead. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think I see it kind of as opening Pandora's box. So with the healthcare thing, he succeeded in what he was trying to do as far as murder that guy. The Trump attempted assassinations didn't work, but I think what it does now is there will be certain people, unhinged people out there that see this as a viable option. Maybe it didn't work, but now I can try to do it better. And like you said, I don't think it will be any. I think probably most of it would be on the left, but I think there will be just as much on the right. Tit for tat. Hey, they tried to kill my guy. I'm going to try to get a high-profile Democrat or someone on the left. I think if it does in fact go that way, it will be a dangerous time in American history. I don't think this has happened since the 1960s when political assassinations and assassination attempts were a thing, right? I know it happened with Ronald Reagan, but that was kind of an aberration, I think. But but it could potentially be a thing again.
I think the past 6 months have shown it is a thing, right? And it's different this time, probably worse in my opinion, because you think about really what needs to happen is what needs to happen is the establishment of a cultural script. So the establishment of an example, right? Which is, we already know what the power of that example can be and that script can be for school shootings. That it's 20 years later now, 25. We can't stop it. We stop them, but we don't stop it as a phenomenon, as a cultural phenomenon. This is generating its own script, right? It's similar to the script of the 60s. It seems to be a little bit different. And it has the advantage of the digital reality, which, back in the 60s, you'd need to see it in the paper to be inspired, right? And maybe that seeing that paper and just having you and your plans in that paper might not be enough to get you into the perseverating loop that's needed for you to go from planning to implementation to execution. Typically, these shooters need that consistent reinforcement, or at least they need enough reinforcement to get the perseverating loop that they can't stop to go in their head, right? Because that loop, and a lot of people will try to get started, and then the reality is it can't. It needs more. It needs more obsession. Like, it needs more obsession fuel. And you can find that obsession fuel anytime you want on the internet now. You can look and look and look at all of these events and news reports. You can go to forums and find people talking about it. So in this regard, I think the conditions are much worse. So it could be, I don't want to say a free for all, and I don't want to push paranoia on people. Sky is falling and all that. But the reality is that the conditions are there for it. And shit, if we do have some sort of a major economic tank and this stuff is going on, holy fuck. Like, not good. So, I want everybody that's listening to just stay cool, right? Just stay cool. Take it one day at a time. Who knows? But the conditions are there. The conditions are there for people on the left to be concerned about these things, to be concerned about, again, the emboldenment of bigots, again, for 4 years, which we had before. The occurrences of really intense protests and anti-establishment protests and counter-protesters and people bringing guns to protests and counter-protests. Assassination attempts, the school shootings thing just continues at the rate that it continues. It hasn't really been too intense in the past year or so, but it's quite possible that we're going to see a worsening of things. I just know that Trump is dangerous, right? Trump is dangerous. You cannot have a dude like this in the White House. I would have voted for Rand Paul in a second over him, or whoever the fuck, George W. Bush in a second. You cannot have a dude like this in the White House. And if you're a Democrat or a liberal, you cannot have things like this happen. It's different. Like, if you want to stay home when fucking John McCain's running and it's a meaningless fucking ass 4 years, then stay home. But you can't stay home for something like this. You got to keep Trump out of the White House, right? And whatever the bad shit that happens, I hope everybody understands why it is that, number one, you got to be able to hit the purple zone. You got to be able to inspire people to vote for your side who are centrist or a little like libertarian or a little to the right. You need to be able to inspire those people also. And you cannot have a cancerous left-wing cancer inside of your tent, backstabbing the shit out of everybody with purity tests. And because this is what fucking happens, right? You cannot have this. Do you guys have any last thoughts? Because we're coming up on 2 hours. Adam, do you have anything that you want to get across?
Getting back to, first establishing and then getting back to and following just a solid platform and roots is something that to go forwards, we have to do. We have to have a platform that actually resonates with people, and we have to grow a set of ovaries or balls, whatever, and get out there and push things through. If we're not willing to be at least a little bit radical in changing the shit that's not working, changing health insurance, changing the health industry, changing a lot of stuff, we're fucked. Not to put it too bluntly, but if we can't grow up, be a full political concept, and really get back to what the American people actually care about, the Democratic Party doesn't need to exist.
Jimmy, what do you think?
I think it's going to be a wild 4 years. So I would encourage people to stay focused and stay cool. But also pay attention, right? We say it's going to be 4 years. Who knows? The congressional elections will be coming up in 2 years where things can move. We can move the needle a little bit, but it's important that everybody stay cool because we don't want this to get worse.
And the thing that I will say is the thing that I will continue to say throughout the next year. We're all gun owners, like Jimmy and I and Adam. Of course, we have position within liberal gun owners, and we're even now willing to put that in its place to get a bigger, better result for, right? You're not making guns the number one issue on the left and beating Donald Trump. But at the same time, come and take it. Like, it's, most liberals won't say that because we know who uses those phrases, right? But we also are like that. Like, you're not getting my shit. I'm not going to, but at the same time, politically, we have to be able to keep Donald Trump out. That's the first thing I will say. We're willing to not prioritize the Second Amendment in order to accomplish something. That's important for us. We're always going to be that way. There's no fucking way liberals who own guns are ever going to be any other way, generally speaking. The other thing that I will say is the cancerous aspect of the left is not going to stop on its own. And one of the reasons why it doesn't stop is it is not challenged and no one calls it out. Everybody's worried about it. They're worried about it because some of these people, it's not all of them, paint it with the righteousness and self-righteousness of fighting for those who need to be fought for, marginalized and weak people. But the problem is that these people are using that, not consciously, but they use that as a pass to just do whatever the fuck they want, and people are letting them do it because everybody's afraid to call these, I would consider them the pernicious aspect of social justice warriorship, let's say. There's a shadow of social justice warriorship. There's legitimate social justice warriorship. And then there's pernicious social justice warriorship and other kinds of self-righteous left-wing thingies. They're not going to stop. But we cannot permit them to continue to spread these effects inside of the liberal tent. They will lose. We will lose. We are losing culturally because of it. We're losing politically because of it. It's one of the reasons, not all of the reasons, but it has to stop here. And it always has not been permitted inside of the core of liberal gun ownership. In terms of liberal gun owners, we have never allowed it to poison us. But generally speaking, if culturally generally speaking in liberal culture, if these cats aren't given a fucking boundary and being smacked in the face, right? It's not going to change. It's not going to change. And that has to happen. And with me, it stops with me here. I mean, we all stop against it, but with me, it stops. If we're losing an election to Donald Trump, and this is a contributing factor, and I've been watching this cancer for almost 30 years now, being a liberal, I'm done with it. I'm not fucking allowing it. I'm not saying anything about it anymore. I'm going to fucking say something about it. And that's what I think more people need to do. So if you guys have anything else from that journey?
Thank you for having us on.
Sure.
Yeah, it's been fantastic talking to you guys again. It's been too long.
Maybe we'll do it maybe quarterly or something like that. Let's get like a quarterly report. Like what the fuck is going on?
There you go. That's a perfect episode.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on with Jimmy and Adam? Yes. Okay, I'm writing that down. Or we could just call it WTF with Randy Adams.